Thank you and good afternoon. It is Monday, November 25th, and it's 3:30, and I would like to call the Public Works and Property Vacation Committee to order. Clerk Bianca, I believe you have some words you would like to mention, and then we'll have you take the roll.
Good afternoon, members of the public. For audio quality, we will be muting everyone not speaking by default to maintain good audio quality for council and yourselves. If you would like to speak during the meeting, during the public portion, please submit your request in the chat. Directions to do so will be listed in the chat. We ask that you provide your full name and address, as those are required for all speakers at in-person council meetings. Committee Chair Noskoski,
Present.
Councilmember Vice Chair White,
Present.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Present.
Councilmember Dr. Davis, Citizen Member Carl Luttrell, Citizen Member Jason Piontek.
Present.
5 present.
Thank you so much. So we do have a quorum for today's meeting, and we are here in reference to an alley vacation request, Bill 6424 for 512 South Walnut Street. Do we know if the petitioner is here? And I believe the petitioner was notified about today's meeting and request to be here. Is there anyone here in regards to Bill 512 South Walnut Street, the petitioner who requested the alley vacation? I see none, committee members. Normally, it has been the practice that we want the person requesting the vacation to be present in front of the committee. So at this time, I'm just going to entertain a request at the pleasure of the committee that we continue this to the next meeting, which will be December the 9th.
Second.
Did you have a question?
No.
Okay, thank you kindly. This has been moved in second to table this bill until December the 9th. Clerk Trotty, want to take the roll, please?
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair White,
Aye.
Committee Chair Noskoski,
Aye.
Citizen Member Carl Luttrell,
Aye.
Citizen Member Jason Piontek.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you so much. Bill 6424 will be tabled until December the 9th. And I'll ask the clerk's office if they could again, please reach out to him via email. I know you have, and let him know the importance of him showing. Again, I'd like to thank my citizen members for showing Mr. Luttrell and Mr. Piontek online. We're going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. The next meeting starts at 3:40, and that's the community investment meeting. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.
We need a start. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, total.
Have a nice weekend. Yeah, I'm trying to think what we did. We didn't do a whole lot. Just kind of stuff in the house with some different type of shopping.
How's your husband doing?
So he's having a hard time.
What's this free that I
His men's really messing with him.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Trying to push through that.
Call the community investment meeting to order. And, Clerk, will you do the roll call for me?
Committee Chair Warner. Councilmember Vice Chair Tomas Morgan.
Present.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Present.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers. Citizen Member Thomas Gray.
Present.
Citizen Member Kane Konchesky. All present.
Thank you. And we'll start with the first bill is the scrap metal license. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Michelle Adams. I'm with the Department of Community Investment and I'm the Business License Administrator. And I'm here today to request that the Common Council to consider the resolution to deny a scrap metal dealer license application in accordance with Section 4-51E3 of the South Bend Municipal Code, which was submitted by Pegasus National. The new application for the operation of scrap metal junk dealer recycling operation was received from Pegasus National, Inc., which is located at 1201 South Sheridan Street. In accordance with the procedures to issue the license, the application was submitted to the Police Department, the Fire Inspection Bureau, Neighborhood Resources, and the Zoning Department for their review and recommendations. Two of the departments gave unfavorable recommendations. Neighborhood Services and Enforcement stated the property does not meet the fencing requirements established by Section 4-51 L2B. Also, the property is within 1,000 feet of an existing business. Our zoning administrator stated this type of operation is considered a heavy industrial use according to 21-06 01G2, and it would need to apply for a special exception use for this use to comply with the municipal code required by Section 4-51 L1. The special exception would then need to be approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals and then by council. So today, I'd like your consideration in granting the resolution to deny the scrap metal dealer license.
Thank you. Mr. Palmer, anything you'd like to add or Eagle?
No, there will be an appeal process if it's denied, but
Okay.
it's not the council's concern.
Thank you. Many members, questions?
Does Pegasus operate scrap metal business at any other location?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Is Pegasus the property owner or? Because Google Maps says that it's Nello Corporation. I don't know if they are the property owner or subtenant.
Eric Lavich, Director of Growth and Opportunity Offices on the 14th floor. They're separate entities, but it's unclear how they're related, but we believe that there is a connection with Nello. What we had heard from speaking with the applicant was that it would be handling scrap metal from Nello's operation.
Do we have anybody from the petitioner here? Regarding the license, nobody from Pegasus? Okay, with that, any council members with questions? Okay, with that, we will open it up to the public and have public hearing on Bill 2438. Any members of the public wishing to speak in favor or against Bill 2438?
I do not see anyone. I do not see anyone from the public or online wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of the bill.
Okay, with that, I'll bring it back to the committee.
I move to send bill number 24-38 to the committee, to the full council with a favorable recommendation. So a favorable recommendation would be to deny the issuance of the scrap metal.
The license and the the denial of the bill would go forward.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Clerk Toronto, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Committee Chair Warner,
Aye.
Citizen Member Thomas Gripe,
Aye.
Citizen Member Kane Konjeski.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. With that, the bill goes forward to the full council this evening with a favorable recommendation, concurrence with staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Bill, so unless I hear an objection, we will hear Bill 2439 and 2440 collectively. Any objection? Hearing none. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner, Councilmember Warner. Joe Molnar, Assistant Director of Growth and Opportunities Office on the 14th floor of the county building, County City Building. Both of the bills before you relate to a tax abatement for Empower Her Development LLC, both the 2-year vacant building tax abatement and the 8-year real property tax abatement. This is for property located at 530 South Michigan Street, just south of Monroe Street, on the south end of downtown and on the edge of the Monroe Park neighborhood. This is 530 South Michigan Street on the left. It has been vacant for a number of years. I believe it is the former Hope Rescue Mission building. On the right, you can see on the picture on the right, the building we're discussing today, 530 South Michigan, that's the building on the right. The Monarch building is on the left. These are being renovated by the same development arm. Empower Her Development LLC is focused on investing in the Monroe Park neighborhood and qualified for a vacant building tax abatement for 2 years, as well as a mixed-use 8-year real property tax abatement. The building dates to 1923 and has a 2-phase construction timeline looked at. The first would be to renovate a portion of the building and stabilize the building, first of all, and then after stabilization to renovate for a commercial kitchen consisting also of a food market that could be used by local chefs and entrepreneurs. And the petitioner can speak more on those plans. And then phase 2 would be to renovate the remaining square footage for a boutique hotel, with the total private investment being a little over $1.6 million into the building. And the businesses located in this space plan to hire at least 8 new full-time employees, as well as retain 3 full employees. Just a breakdown of the numbers for the vacant building tax abatement. This would lowers the tax liability for the existing taxes. So over the next 2 years, the taxes were estimated at $21,387. This would abate a little over $10,000 of those taxes, helping them with the costs of securing and stabilizing the building. And then the mixed use development tax abatement for 8 years, those current estimated taxes are $10,693 a year. The estimated taxes after this project would be completed would be just over $39,000. So for the entire life of the 8-year abatement, the estimated taxes would be approximately $313,000, with $93,000 of those being abated and $219,000 being paid. After 10 years, if this project did not happen, even though I don't know if the building would last 10 more years, if this project did not happen, without the project, it would collect a little over $100,000 in taxes. But with the project, even with the abatement, you're looking at just under $300,000 of taxes collected. So about a 3 times the amount that we would anticipate if this abatement didn't go through. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know the petitioner is present as well. This is kind of a conceptual vision for both the Monarch building and this building, which would be on the right. And then they do plan some improvements to the space in between the 2 buildings. So really helping, elevate and lift up that portion of Michigan Street, which hasn't seen investment in quite some time. But Jasmine.
Hi,
Good
my
afternoon.
name is,
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Jasmine Bradley, and I am one of the co-owners and partners on this project. The vision for this project is to access and help conquer food access in the community. This will be a hub for entrepreneurs and farmers to be able to sell their local goods to the community, and also be an affordable way. We will accept WIC and SNAP and different things like that to make it affordable to the community to have access to healthy foods, as well as a shared collective for entrepreneurs to be able to have an affordable space to rent, to bring their foods and their products to the community. So this piece and this project is rooted in just being able to support the community and having that food access, as well as helping entrepreneurs be supported and be able to afford and bring forth their businesses to the community of South Bend.
I just need an address from you, Jasmine, for the record.
Yes, it's 530 South Michigan Street.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Committee members, any questions?
Yes, I would like to know, so when do you, foresee as your opening date?
So
What
we are.
Your future look like with this?
Yes, we are planning to phase the project. So we're planning to get started fall of 2025 with the stabilization, and then move to bring in the commercial kitchen and the spaces for the fresh food market. So we plan that this will take all the way up into fall 2027, but starting with the food options and the fresh food market and ending with the boutique hotel.
Well, I just like to say, congratulations, and I hope that, you have a great success, and, I'm looking forward to visiting your place.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm very excited about this project because on the south side, I drive by that every day. And so I'm really looking forward. I have a question. It might
Yes.
be a stupid question,
Mm-mm.
but what is a boutique hotel?
Yes.
Would you explain that? to
Yes.
me?
Yes. So it's just a smaller concept for a hotel. So more creative, artistic, bringing in different things. The historic development is very rooted in using just reused items and bringing things back to life. So it'll be an interesting concept that will combine the history of South Bend and artists and different things and bring that to life so people can come and stay and rent and stay short term or even more longer term to stay in South Bend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be seeing you again.
Yes.
Questions? Thank you so much for this proposal and idea. It's very exciting. Just a couple of questions. One was, so this is your LLC. Is there a relationship with Her Story and the other property?
Yes, so there is a relationship. So myself and the two original partners of Her Historic have partnered together to build, empower her to buy the Hope Building. So Her Historic owns the Monarch Building already and is developing it, and also is working to develop the vacant lot in the middle. And then myself and Her Historic formed the Empower Her LLC to own the Hope Building.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much for explaining that. That's
Mhm.
helpful. And secondly, will there be a request for redevelopment funds? I don't know if that's going to be a question for you or the or DCI.
So yes, there will be. We did apply. This is not connected, but we did apply for the Ready Grant. So we hope to receive that and get started in the fall. But yes, there will be a request for funds. Yes.
Yeah, so this was part of a larger proposal for Ready 2.0. If that was awarded, there was some city commitment for TIF dollars in that project as well. But that would be contingent for now upon the Ready 2.0 being approved.
Thank you.
Great.
Hi there.
Hi.
Outside of the public funds, do you have your private funds lined up to begin this process?
So we do have some private investors. We're still in the working to maintain more funds, but we are in the fundraising part and looking for investors, but we do have some.
If God forbid, you don't get the Ready Grant,
Yes.
is this project still economically viable?
Yes, so we are looking to obtain more loans if we don't. So yes, we are, and we've been in the works to already obtain funding, and then it is the hope to get the Ready Grant, but we will still be obtaining funding and working towards funds without it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any council members online? Seeing none, we'll move to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak on Bill 2439 or Bill 2440?
I do not see anyone in person or online wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of the bills.
Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the committee. At this time, I'd be open to a motion for Bill 2439.
I move that we send Bill 24. Are we doing them together?
We're going to
2439.
do them separately. So this would be just Bill 2439, which would be a resolution to the full council.
Bill 2439 to the council for the favorable recommendation.
I have a motion and a second. Clerk Toronto?
Committee Chair Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Citizen Member Thomas Gripe,
Aye.
Citizen Member Kane Konjeski. All ayes.
Thank you. And now a motion for 2440, please.
Thank you.
Welcome. I move to send Bill 2440 to the whole council with a favorable recommendation.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk Toronto?
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Committee Chair Warner,
Aye.
Citizen Member Kane Konjeski, Citizen Member Thomas Gripe.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. Those two bills will go forward. We'll see you at 7 p.m. with favorable recommendations. And now we'll move to Bill 2441. Resolution approving the South Bend Plan Commission approving declaratory resolutions and amended restated development plans as adopted by the South Bend Redevelopment Commission. Good afternoon. Welcome, Chris.
Good afternoon, committee members. Chris Dressel with the City of South Bend Department of Community Investment with offices on the 14th floor of this building. I'm happy to present to you today a brief presentation regarding the request to expand our TIF district area and property acquisition list. So it's been 2.5 years since we made this last request for changes to the TIF district. As soon as I get going with seems to be a little hiccup every time I start this. So in the spring of 22, we last did a request for a expansion of the River East district. For today, we'll be talking about expansions to the River East, River West, and South Side district. Still not moving. It's okay. So we will be talking just about a few common TIF questions, and then moving on to sort of our reasons for adjustments for today, and then talking about those specific expansion areas. That's good.
Is that the first
Yep,
one?
that's the first one. Thank you. And then wrapping it up with some of our outreach that we'll be doing for this process. So this is a 4-step process, and we've completed the first 2 steps, starting with the Redevelopment Commission. They put forth a declaratory resolution that then is heard by the South Bend Plan Commission. They put together their own resolution, and that comes to the council. So that's what what you have in front of you today. The wrap-up step would be going back to the redevelopment commission for a confirming resolution that includes a public hearing. So in talking about, we have some frequently asked questions about TIF that we can run through quickly, and then just our adjustment process and our areas in specific, and then our public notification. The common TIF questions, I think this is a body that's probably heard these questions before, just talk about what TIF is, how does it work, what's it used for, and how it impacts properties or it doesn't impact properties. So obviously it's a financing tool that we have available for economic development, investment, and infrastructure. There's probably countless projects across the city that have been funded through TIF, below the ground, on the ground, above the ground. And those basically there's an opportunity to capture an increment of taxes that can be then dedicated towards the specific TIF area versus citywide in some of those tax generating districts. This is the TIF 101 that you didn't know you were going to get today, but just a real quick visual of this. If you look at a typical block, you have a base tax, then that's sort of with a TIF, with inclusion within a TIF area, you can lock in that number. And then as there's development that takes place, you add that new, you can add that in, and that becomes the new taxes minus the base that was there. That becomes your increment. And that's what then is utilized for TIF expenditures within a TIF area. So again, lots of examples. Probably isn't a block you don't drive down in South Bend where you see lots of examples of infrastructure. So below ground utilities, streetscapes, sidewalks, trees, a lot of community assets, fire stations, parks for sure. And then in some cases, we have some cemetery improvements and other park improvements and other community assets. And then also development projects. TIF can partner in what otherwise are private developments with a public portion for those projects. So why are they adjusted? It allows us to sort of fund future priorities. So it's a look forward. It's a projection to see where there might be growth in the city. There might be opportunities that allows us to get the changes to the boundaries out front before that actually occurs. And as you've seen, it sort of captures that value moving forward for development that's underway. So you can take the money that is generated in a TIF area and reinvest it in that same area. There's also opportunity for extending retail opportunities. And one example is the Municipal Riverfront Development District. The two main qualifiers is it must be in a TIF area and it must be within 3,000 feet of the river. So there's an opportunity there. And then our recent adjustments, 2019, we made adjustments to 4 of our areas, and 2022 adjustments to River East. So a real quick run through of what we have in terms of our proposed expansion areas. So the blue is the River East area. The lighter blue represents those 2 areas where we are proposing expansion. So we have where the arrows are in the northeast corner of the city, and then one towards the south central portion. That northeast corner, that's the sort of, you look at it in terms of Ironwind Drive between Edison and State Route 23. There's a growth happening here. This is the place of our River East expansion. And we see that there's continued opportunity for growth. So we're looking to capture that with these areas in yellow that would represent the expansion. The other area in River East is near IU South Bend. This is largely the Lincoln Way East corridor to the city limits moving east. And this is an area that would be eligible for the Municipal Riverfront Development District as well. Looking at the River West opportunities, we have 3 of them noted here. One of them is small, so it's hard to see on this map. Just looking at some of those in more detail. We have some areas, obviously, these are areas that are undergoing some change, potential change in the future. There's north of the toll road is a recently annexed area that's seeing development right now, but there's chance for future development. And then I was familiar with the Portage Manor site and then the former AEP site on the south end of that map. River West, the other area, just a few parcels here, just west of Portage, that are within the also within the Riverfront Development District, and includes a current restaurant facility. And then looking at the south side, this is an area that includes Vernon Village Park and the area surrounding it. So there's an opportunity for some future expansion of the park. And then finally, another small parcel. Parcel sort of on the bottom edge of that map. There's a couple of parcels there that offer off of Ireland Road that offer an opportunity for expansion. So in addition to changing the development area boundary, we're talking about the property acquisition list as well. And in the case of this expansion request, all the properties that would be taken in by the expansion area would also be added to the acquisition list. And it's an unfortunately named thing, acquisition list. We end up having a lot of conversations, but being on the list does not mean that the city's actively trying to acquire the property. We'll get to that in a couple of slides here, but it does give us the extra flexibility if we should want to entertain acquisition and entertain a conversation with the property owner. We have it had already added to the development area. Development area plan, there's a plan for each of these development areas. We did a major overhaul to these back in 2019. But with these updates, we'd be looking at updating the geography, the boundary, the legal description, and the acquisition list. And there would be financial impact analysis that we would also have in place. I should note Matt Eckerly from Baker Tilly, our financial consultant, is here for any questions you may have today or tonight. And then when we are engaging with the public on this, the common questions are, I received this letter, I received this notice for a public hearing. What does it mean? What does it not mean? There's not going to be an increase in property taxes or tax rate. Does not mean the city is purchasing a property, and it does not mean that there's a change in the zoning. So we've found that it's useful to have some extra public meetings. These are not required by the state of Indiana, but it's useful to have any engagement in advance of the public hearing in case there's any questions or concerns from those that are receiving these letters. So we have these meetings set up. We also have regular contact information with myself, and we'll be also going live with a website that contains this presentation amongst a lot of other materials, and the printed materials will be held in our office. So to wrap it up, we'll be seeking your approval of these changes that'll put us on a good course for the next few years. And we'll be wrapping that up officially with the Redevelopment Commission on December 12th. So happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Consultants with Baker Tilly, anything to add or just here for questions? Okay. With that, committee members, any questions?
With the expansions to the River West District, is there any long-term plans yet regarding the expiration of the River West? And last I heard, there might have been some new form of TIF structuring that might be enabled for River West.
All I can add is that these are not new allocation areas. These are amending the existing ones. So the expirations that are attached to those areas now would be the same.
But does River West the River West TIF district not expire imminently, like this year or
It's not this year.
next year?
Oh, Matt, did you have that year? Yeah, sure. please.
Good afternoon, Matt Eckerly with Baker Tilly offices in Indianapolis. This action does not change the expiration of the existing parts of the River West allocation area or South Side or River East for that matter. Each establishment date has its own clock, so to speak. So components of the River West area, as well as other allocation areas, will start expiring here in the next couple of years. And so that incremental assessed value will flow into the tax base after those dates, but these expansions will have their own expiration dates tied to their individual establishment. So it's a blend to really answer your question.
Are there any development plans currently being discussed relating to any of these new areas?
There's nothing concrete. I think, that's not always the case. Sometimes we have something we know is timed, and we're trying to effectively work ahead of that. But in this case, there's just, these are areas that we would be confident that we could see some development, but we don't have any projects to speak of per se.
Okay, so specifically, there's nothing being discussed relating to the old Portage Manor location, correct?
No, there's nothing to share as part of this update. No.
Curious.
No.
All right, thank you.
Okay, seeing none, we'll open it up to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak on Bill 2441?
Mr. Geiger, are you speaking for or against the bill?
Against.
Can you repeat that?
Against. In opposition to.
Okay, thank you. Can you hold on one moment?
Yes.
I do not see anyone in person or online wishing to speak in favor.
Go ahead, Mr. Geiger.
Thank you, Jordan Geiger, 302 South Falcon Street. Chris, I wanted to know, you said for some of these areas, there's no expected or planned development at this moment. So what is the justification for including these areas in the TIF? Because we know that this money that is going to be held in the TIF, these new taxes, tax revenue that's created is going to be held in these TIF districts and prevented from going into the general fund. And so that really hurts the city overall, in my opinion. Some of these areas where you have the TIF districts on the east side, these areas have become increasingly whited and gentrified. And so I have concerns about the city trying to expand and include more areas into these TIF districts without any clear justification. What is the reasoning for doing this?
Any other questions, Mr. Geiger?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geiger. The leading edge on this opportunity for expansion, I think is more of a opportunity to add some properties into the Riverfront Development District. And so knowing that we're doing this every few years, we brought in some additional properties that we tried to be conservative about that, but some additional properties that could be subject to development that made sense at this time until we look at this in a few more years. So we tried to be conservative with a relative small number. It's about 200 parcels in this case. And, we have a conversation that goes back a number of months before we actually go forth with the public request. So we've been assembling these areas and just thought there'd be opportunities for some additional areas.
But if these areas are already doing well, as you said, why not just let the money flow into the general fund? Why put it into a TIF and you can just use the money from the general fund to do whatever projects of interest? Why do they need to be included in the TIF district?
Well, I think it offers an opportunity for balance here. It's not just addressing the properties, it's addressing the infrastructure around them that's adjacent to these properties. So that's more of in more of a public good sense, where we could make improvements to streets and infrastructure in these areas that we couldn't do before. So we can offer that dedicated fund.
Thank you. Bring it back to the committee. Further comments?
There is no one else wishing to speak.
Okay.
Just a question, and I was looking and making sure I didn't, if I missed it, forgive me. But out of all these areas that are being added, what's the square footage, square mileage? Is it, you said it's small.
It's the acreage.
Yeah, the acreage.
I didn't bring that number with me. I can give you some numbers that give you a sense of that. I'm happy to bring that
Okay.
this evening. Thank
This
you.
evening? Okay, I don't want how big it is. Thank you.
Any members? Motion, thoughts, comments?
Chair, I'd like to move that we send Bill 24-41 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
I'll second. Clerk Toronto, roll call, please.
Committee Chair Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Citizen Member Thomas Grape,
Aye.
Citizen Member Kane Konjewski.
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you. And with that, I will adjourn the Community Investment Committee meeting. Thank you.
The Health and Public Safety Committee. Today is November 25th. I'd like to ask Clerk Toronto to make preliminary comments and instructions for public comment, and then take roll of the committee, please.
Good afternoon, members of the public. For audio quality, we have muted everyone not speaking by default to maintain good audio quality for council members and yourselves. If you would like to speak during the meeting, during the public portion, please submit your request in the chat. Directions to do so have been listed in the chat. We ask that you provide your full name and address, as those are required for all speaking at in-person council meetings. Thank you. Committee Chair Thomas Morgan,
Present.
Councilmember Vice Chair Dr. Davis,
Present.
Councilmember Warner,
Present.
Councilmember White,
Present.
Citizen Member Savino Rivera,
Present.
Citizen Member Frank Spezza. All are present.
Acknowledge that we do have a quorum. Just a few comments before I turn it over to the presenter. Just a reminder, last Wednesday on November 20th, this committee met for an informational meeting to receive an update and gain an understanding of some of the statutes pertaining to establishing a merit system and merit board. This committee will be hearing bill number 65-24 and sending forth a recommendation to the committee of the whole for the 7 p.m. council meeting. Our meeting is scheduled to 5:10, although we did start 5 minutes late. So if it would be all right, if needed, Councilman Davis, would it be all right if
I'm at
we
peace.
took 5 minutes of your committee time? Thank you very much. We'll turn it over to tonight's presenter. Committee and council members can ask 2 questions each. Committee members will go first, then I'll turn to council members. I will then open the floor to public comment with those speaking in favor first, and then in opposition. I'll circle back to the committee for any additional questions or comments they have before I entertain any motions. Just as a reminder, I want to remind committee and council members, you should be recognized by the chair before speaking, please. And lastly, I would just like to state that throughout the course of this committee meeting, I request the highest in respect and decorum. Disrespectful, rude, or disruptive speech or personal attacks will not be tolerated and may result in forfeiting the remainder of his or her allotted time. With that, I'll turn it over to the petitioners and presenters. Is there a presenter?
I'm online.
Is that
Kylie Connell.
That we have a substitute bill? That.
We do.
Just for your information.
The substitute was filed on Friday, I
Oh,
believe.
yes, right. Thank you. So I do need to, I will like to accept a motion to receive the substitute bill. Where was it?
I didn't see it this morning when I checked
It
my,
wasn't sent to us.
it wasn't sent to us.
Pass it down.
Pardon me? Yeah, can you get it printed off, please?
That'd be great.
Can we hold until see it and put it online?
I'm sorry, just could you hold, please? It was filed on Friday, but it wasn't, a copy wasn't sent to the committee or the
It's
council.
in the agenda package that went out.
Okay, okay. So it was in the agenda package. Sorry about that. Can we just get a copy of that? Can we move to go ahead and have the presentation? And while we receive this,
Chair,
um,
my understanding is that the amendments were not substantive, and maybe Attorney Connell can clarify what the changes were.
okay. I'd like to go ahead and still receive a motion to receive the substitute. Can I have a second? Okay. Okay. Clerk Torado, will you take a roll, please?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair, Dr. Davis,
I'm unclear about where I am yet now.
We'd like to, while the clerk's office is getting us copies of the bill, of the substitute bill, I would like to move forward and have the presentation.
Go ahead with the presentation. Go ahead, yes.
Committee Chair Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Nay. And accept the substitute I haven't seen.
That's true.
Okay.
That's fine.
What in the world is, hold a second.
If it was sent to, I admit that I didn't see it either. If it was in the package that was sent, it wasn't.
would you like to receive the copy before we make the motion?
Could you you could do both, actually. If it's faster to send us online, that would be great. While Matt, you also print out copies, please. So why don't we wait? Or we should see that.
I make a
would
motion,
like
we
to-
go forward with the presentation.
Okay,
And we
that,
vote on the substitute after the presentation and with receipt of the substitute.
can we do that?
Of course.
So we don't have to take the motion to
Yeah.
receive the substitute. Okay, let's move ahead. Thank you, Mr. Warner, for that assistance. We'll turn it over to the presenter and then we'll make a motion to receive the substitute afterwards. Thank you for your patience.
This is the same.
Please move on.
Thank you. This is Kylie Connell, Assistant City Attorney, offices at 701 West Sample here in South Bend. I work with the police department as well as other departments, but the police department is my main focus. And we are presenting this ordinance for the board, or for the, I'm sorry, for the committee first, and then for the common council to vote on. For the substitute, since that was brought up, there were scrivener's errors. There was one code site that was left out, and there was another code site further on that, to clarify, added to a section. And then the beginning, we just took out the whereas. Those were the only substitutions. Nothing else was changed. Moving on to the actual presentation portion. If you'll give me one moment.
Point of information.
Are you asking to be recognized, sir?
Yes, point of information.
Yes.
With the only whereas being changed, how does that apply? Because option 4 was not included in that. How do we, how would that relate to that, since that was not related to that? How will we?
From my review,
I think if I
there's-
can,
Let's
Sorry.
move forward with the presentation.
Point of
and then-
information,
then I
please.
think your question will be
Point of
answered.
information, point of information, close everything. It overrides the chair. Yes.
For my review of the substitute, there is no substantive change that would change the options I presented last Wednesday.
I know, but how would that be made in terms of the issue regarding, since she said, whereas, because number 4 is not included in the, I just reviewed it, it was not included in there.
The options are not included in the bill. Those options were presented by me to the council, explaining the statutes that were relevant for this bill.
So if we vote on it after the press, when we vote on, how do we vote on that with your options in it?
You would not be voting on my options. You would be voting only on this bill itself.
We would be voting on this to receive the substitute bill and then the bill itself.
So-
Options were never in the bill.
The ordinance that's being presented to you, the substitute ordinance that is being presented to you, falls within what I explained as option 4. So this does incorporate option 4 as I outlined Wednesday night.
But it has a limit on the, according to this one, it has the limit on the amount of people on the board.
That's the bill that's being put to the council tonight.
But in option 4 you presented to us, I thought that was no limit.
There is a limit. It's
I mean, talking about we have a right to make that situation.
correct. And that would be through an amendment to this ordinance.
So we can make an amendment to that ordinance tonight with that then.
Correct.
Okay. I'm at
Correct.
peace right now.
Assuming that the motion got enough votes.
I'd like to move forward with the presentation, please.
Motion would have to be to amend.
When we have, and when I open up the floor to to entertain motions, we can entertain any motion that gets
Correct.
proposed.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Ms. Kylie, thank you. Please move forward.
yeah.
Is she frozen?
I have no clue.
Attorney Connell, I think you are frozen. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Are you trying to present?
She's gone.
Sorry, Attorney Connell, we cannot hear your presentation. I might request that you log out and then log back in.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
We can, thank you.
Okay. Were you able to see the slides at all?
No, we cannot.
No, okay. If you'll bear with me one moment.
Attorney Kyle, if you send the slides to me, I can pop my email. We can put the presentation up for you if that helps at all.
Okay. I will try to keep going. Can you see the slides now?
No.
No, we cannot.
No, we're not able to.
Okay. Then I will email those to you. And I can continue talking until the time that those are up. And I apologize, I did troubleshoot this earlier with a colleague and it was working, so I apologize.
I did pop my email and my email address in there for you, and then as soon as you send it, we can get it up.
One moment.
So council, you have received an electronic copy and now you're receiving a paper copy of the substitute.
Yes, everybody. You could give it to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, clerk's office.
Yes, that's fine.
Were you able to receive the presentation, Clerk Torado? Attorney Connell, were you able to send the presentation slides?
I have not been able to send them yet.
Attorney Connell, is there any technical assistance we can offer you?
My internet's just being slow.
We do have the presentation and we're setting that up right now. And council members, I will forward this to you.
Thank you. Should we also be able to print hard copies for the 7 p.m. meeting for everybody on council? Would you also be able to print a hard copy for everyone on council for 7 p.m.?
All right. I believe you are accessing the PowerPoint now. And can you hear me?
We can, and we are seeing the slides. You may proceed.
Okay, thank you. Again, I apologize for this delay. So as I was saying, the merit board was established, and the options for, as the police department saw it, was that we had the option of following the state model or creating our own South Bend model. Keeping it as is was not an option due to the FOP input. They were interested in a merit system, and the police department didn't have enough reason not to have a merit system. And I'll explain later on why the merit system is going to work. So the best option, based on discussions from the past year, was to create a South Bend model that would work with what we have already put into our efforts. When the efforts already established include the excellence, accountability, innovation, inclusion, and empowerment of the community, collaboration and department efforts thus far. There have been many discussions with the Board of Public Safety, not specifically on the merit system, but discussions in general about how to run the police department and how to hold officers accountable. There have been discussions on policy updates. There's been lots of input from the community creating the system that we have now, creating the system that the police department follows now with the Board of Public Safety. And the department was interested in keeping that process and that the same, and not creating some system that wasn't going to work, which was the state model. So keeping that in mind, the first discussion was with the department administration and the FOP union. We've had many talks and discussions. We've had many researching topics, attending trainings about what the merit system looks like for the state and how it could apply to us and what it would look like for us. And that's where we came up with this ordinance, which would memorialize what the department has already been doing, but transitioning from the Board of Public Safety to a merit system. And the only change that would truly affect what's going on would be that who's appointed to the merit board. So that's 2 members are appointed by the FOP, 2 members are appointed by the mayor, and 1 is appointed by the common council. Other than that, the structure of the ordinance memorializes what the department has already done, the work the department has already done in hiring, firings, accountability, and that system. So we're not trying to create a whole new system. We're not trying to have a merit system come in and create some brand new strategies. We already have things that work, and we are trying to advance it to the next. So the merit board that we are establishing is under 36-1414. A unit may hire and discharge employees and establish a system of employment for any class of employees based on merit and qualification. The department feels very strongly that the system that we already had in place was a merit system, that using the Board of Public Safety and the functions and accountability that that had was a form of a merit system. And we were looking to replicate that merit system into this new South Bend model. So this chapter, the chapter 3.5, which is the state model, does not affect the establishment under the code that we are looking to establish under. So all of the criteria under the state model does not apply to us, except for that the FOP, it's not just the FOP members, it would be all of the sworn department members would have an opportunity to elect 2 members. And there's another section referred to, but that's really focused on EMS. So that's 19.3 of the state merit system. And that 19.3 wouldn't really affect the department at all because we don't have any EMS certified individuals. So that would affect fire if fire was trying to do their own system, but they have decided to follow the state. So moving on to the next slide, differences between state proposed merit and the Board of Public Safety. What does that really look like? So this should be a table. Thank you. This should be a table presented. So the state merit system, I'm not going to read through all of it, but I'm just going to kind of focus on some of the highlights. Again, the biggest point that I've already mentioned is the makeup of the board. Originally, the Board of Public Safety was all mayoral appointees. We looked into, could we keep the Board of Public Safety as our merit system, but there was no way around the mayor appointees. That's in the Indiana code that the mayor appoints who's on the Board of Public Safety. There was no way that we could change that or amend that. For the merit system that we're proposing, which aligns with the state model, it's the 2 are elected by sworn members, 2 are appointed by the mayor, and 1 is by the common council. The board member requirements are a little bit more for the state model. The merit system just has that they have to be of good moral character and not an active member of the department. So they can't be somebody who's working on the department, can't also be on the board. Whereas the Board of Public Safety, the only requirement was a city resident, and they would have to go through a process that the mayor has to become on the board. Also, a notable change from the Board of Public Safety is term limits. So there are no term limits with the Board of Public Safety, meaning that a board member can serve however long they choose to or however long the mayor wants to keep them on the board. Whereas the term that we are proposing would be a 5-year term, starting with staggering at the beginning so that people are going on and off the board at different times. And that it would continue to serve at the pleasure of the appointing authority. Whoever appointed that individual would have the say-so. So rejecting a merit system, I'll kind of fit this in, it's not on a slide, but rejecting the merit system, was that an option? We didn't think that was an option at all. Again, the FOP had made very clear that they were interested in the merit system. It was just a matter of what kind of merit system it was going to look like. So, so going on to the next slide. What are some more things that would change based on the merit system? So really, from the Board of Public Safety to the proposed South Bend system, there would not be much change. It would be department who's creating the selection process, which is what has already been happening. It would be the department who would be creating the promotional process, which they have discussions with the FOP on that promotional process to make sure that the members agree with the promotional process. And then performance evaluations would again be controlled by the department. All of that is the same as the Board of Public Safety. None of that would be changing. We wouldn't be giving more power to the department, or we wouldn't be taking away power from the department. They would have the same capabilities that they have now with the Board of Public Safety. And one additional change that we did take advantage of with the merit system proposed is that it would be 1-year probationary period from when FTO is completed. So right now the code says, Indiana code says that if you are under a Board of Public Safety system or the state model, that it's 1 year from swearing in. And we would have run into situations where the FTO process really needs more time for training, and maybe some individuals just need a little extra time to make sure that they're getting to where they need to be. And that 1 year period can be a little bit of a crunch. And so extending that from when FTO is complete really gives a better picture of, is this person the right person for this department? And gives us the ability to dismiss them if it's not the right fit. Then moving on to the next slide. Another thing that's actually not a change, but I'll address it, would be discipline. So discipline would be staying the same under the South Bend proposed merit system. It's the same as the Board of Public Safety. The code referenced in our ordinance is the Board of Public Safety code. So it'd be 5 or more than 5 days goes to the board. Under 5 days or less would be continue to be controlled by the chief. It would involve demotions, dismissals, reprimands, forfeiture, suspension. All of those would still fall under the same practices that we've been doing. And we would follow the Board of Public Safety procedures. The main difference from the state model mentions less capabilities. So they mention only suspension, demotion, or dismissal. Other than that, the state model is actually very similar as well, even the hearing procedures. Now, the state model has their own hearing procedures, but for the most part, they do follow the Board of Public Safety procedures. So there's not much change there. So it's keeping what we already know works well, keeping what we like, and keeping the Board of Public Safety procedures that we've already worked on, having guidelines, regulations for how those procedures are played out. Then moving on to the next slide. So what is not affected? The CBRB is not affected. It has not changed their role at all. They are still meant to be an extra guard, an extra layer of protection for any complaints that come up, that they can continue to investigate and continue to talk with internal affairs. There is absolutely no plan or intention to take that away. They have their own ordinance, they have their own section, they have a completely separate role. Just as it is now with the Board of Public Safety, the Board of Public Safety would hear anything that comes before them as needed. So they don't review any of the investigation. They only review once the chief has made a decision. Then none of that changes. It just switches from one board to another. And the CPRB can continue to do their investigations just as they would be doing now with the Board of Public Safety. There would be no need to collaborate between the two boards. They have two separate roles and two separate purposes. So that is not affected. The Board of Public Safety would still exist. It may be combined with the Board of Public Works, or it may stay as a standalone. That would be up to the mayor and the Common Council ultimately to make that decision. But the board, whether it be a standalone or with the Board of Public Works, they would still oversee policies, SROs, special police commissions, administrative resolutions such as setting holiday schedules. They would continue to receive the reports, the statistics that they're receiving. They would be able to give out challenge coins that they have, and they would continue to approve the collective bargaining agreements, along with any other matters or property that would come before the board. So I would imagine if there are any big contracts that need to go before the board, it would be the Board of Public Safety, not the Merit Board. I like to think of the Merit Board as handling the personnel matters, whereas the Board of Public Safety handles the property and administrative affairs of the department, the police department. Then moving on to the final piece. So as I've already mentioned, what does this really look like for the South Bend merit model? It's the selection that the department would determine the procedures. We already have procedures in place. They're rigorous. We think that they are very good and well thought out. And we don't think it would be beneficial for the merit system to completely control that. We think the department should have a lot of say in their procedures for the selection process. Appointment would still be the Merit Board. So it has been the Board of Public Safety. It would be the Merit Board who would do the swearing in and final appointment of individuals. The promotional process. So going from a PFC to a lieutenant or to a sergeant, any of those positions would be the department, and the FOP would establish a process that they think works best for the department. It's a very fluctuation, the promotional process. Some years, I don't remember how many years ago, but there used to be a ranking system. The department didn't really like the ranking system, so they switched more to actual ability and quality of the individuals who are applying. So that we seek to keep that the same as what we have already worked on with the FOP on that. Performance evaluations that only the chief may establish. Performance evaluations can be very subjective, especially when you have lots of different supervisors evaluating their officers. So we think it's very important that that comes from internal, from chief, working with HR to set up any performance evaluations that they feel are necessary. Discipline, again, would follow the same procedures that we've been following with the Board of Public Safety, that it would be more than 5 days would have to be approved by the merit board and would go through the same hearing process if the officer asked for it. Anything 5 and under would still stay under the purview of the chief, who would notify the merit board and let them know, but there's different hearing procedures. And again, those are the same procedures that we've been following with the Board of Public Safety. The merit board would also handle any retirements or resignations as well, approving those. And let me just check my notes real quick. I will try to leave it up for some questions and comments. I'm sure there will be some. So that covers really with the position of the board or of the department and why we are looking to have this ordinance passed and approved and adopted by the committee and by the Common Council. I also do believe that FOP representatives are present in the Common Council room tonight. And then there may be some chiefs available as well. So I want to open it up at this point, or that concludes my presentation at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Connell. I'd like to, I'm assuming the FOP will, if there are any comments, you can make them during public comment rather than as part of the presentation.
I believe that's.
Is that okay? Then let's move forward to entertain questions from the committee. So committee members, what questions do you have? Councilman Davis?
Yes, this is really to our attorney. On Wednesday night, you presented your 4 options. And if we were to amend this bill to include option 4 that we had discussed on Wednesday, because we didn't discuss all of this on Wednesday. I wish we could have included some of that, but that wasn't. But maybe if we just include option 4, to me, it seems like it changes several aspects of this bill in terms of the just how it's set up. Where do you see similarity, or is everything? Or you said that if we amend and you say if the bill would be, I amend this bill that should just be presented to include option 4 as presented Wednesday night, then what is the correct thing? That's what I had emailed you about.
Option 4 is another statutory procedure by which the merit system can be established. This bill is created under option 4. You can amend the ordinance as the council sees fit, but this is the city's attempt to create its own merit system, not being controlled in any manner by the state.
This
Do
is
you have
the
a second question?
But in option 4, my understanding when we left here on Wednesday was that in terms of the section B, where was that? Established merit system not required for vote, no required from and that we were going to set up, we could deal with the parameters later. That was my understanding of that, wasn't the fact that everything was going to be set up where they would have the exact number and everything else to today.
The The options I presented last Wednesday night were there are 4 options available under the state statutes. We were not addressing this bill whatsoever. This bill is being presented to the council for either acceptance or rejection, but the framework of this bill comes under option 4.
If I may briefly comment
Thank
on
you.
that.
Yes.
Thank you. So I was at the presentation on Wednesday and I did listen to what was being presented, so I would be aware of the questions and concerns that would come up. This is option 4. So this offers the flexibility that it's being controlled by the Common Council. It can be amended by the Common Council. It can be revoked by the Common Council. This is the option 4, and it's creating the framework that the department is already using to follow that option, to create that flexibility that the department and the administration wants. So that this fits into that.
Thank you for answering that. And thank you, Attorney Palmer. Other committee members with questions? Mr. Warner? Oh, well, let's go down there. Yes, Councilman White.
Thank you for the presentation. I was going through option 4 and in regard to some of the areas that you had, shared with us. My question is, how did we reach the number 5? And as we look as far as membership on the commission, and they said there's no mandatory number of commission members, and of course 1/3 of it will be the active members of the department. I'm just looking from number 4, but this ordinance has said 5 members, 2 to 1, and just want to know how that came about.
So that was an internal discussion. We had thought of, obviously an odd number is best. So 3 would be too little. We didn't think that was a good number. 7 might be too many. We didn't think that was a great number. So we just kind of selected 5 as being the best. I think if you get beyond 7, that's really not a good number at all. So really what we were looking at would be 7 or 5. And 5 is consistent with what the Board of Public Safety has. 5 seems to be a manageable number of how many people can actually attend meetings and actually have a quorum. So it seemed like that would be the best option. But certainly the department and the FOP would be open to further discussions about that. But we just thought 5 was a good number to start off with.
Okay, thank you.
The second question, Ms. White. Councilman Warner?
Thank you. That was kind of one of the questions there I had, was how many on the board now? If we go to 7, then the math on that works out strange. To get a 1/3, we would have to have 3 from the FOP out of the 7. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So,
9.
my other question, I've lost it now. So the bill is option 4. If we reject the bill tonight, the council does, what happens?
If you reject the bill tonight,
Or vote down the bill, or,
vote down, there will be no merit system in place for South Bend, and therefore we will be mandated to accept the state option 1, actually, that was in my presentation. Unless, and this would be extremely unlikely, the council could somehow pass another ordinance on December 9th and obtain a vote from the active members of the police department by the end of the year, keeping in mind that there must be at least 3 weeks notice between the time the council passes the bill and the time that the police officers vote.
but we can't have a first reading, though.
No, you would
So
have,
we couldn't pass a bill. Correct?
technically you could,
Without a
because
special meeting?
upon the unanimous vote of the
You could, I
council,
guess
you
we-
can, yes,
We could bypass that rule.
you
So
could
we
bypass all 3
yeah.
readings and have them on the same night.
Okay, but if we reject the bill, we still end up with a merit system that's under the state model.
Correct.
Thank you. Yes, Committee Member Speza.
With regards to section 2.E, Each board member serves at the pleasure of the appointing or electing authority, while the elected members have a recall petition backstopping their removal from the board. Could you explain why that's set up differently for the different members, and why the petition system wouldn't work for all committee members?
Section E, I'm sorry, can you state that first part again?
Section 2.E. The appointed members of the board serve at the will of the appointing member, whether that's the mayor or a council member, while the elected members, the police members of the committee, can only be recalled via a petition by the committee members. And I'm curious why that's different.
So this actually does mimic I believe it does mimic the state model a little bit. It's because you can't have, I mean, essentially it is the same, but it's just a little bit of a different process. It's requiring that petition because you have to have all of the sworn members make a decision and say that, yes, they do want this recall, versus one person, say the chief of police, making that decision. Or, I mean, the chief wouldn't in this scenario, but the mayor, that's a better example. The mayor making a decision, that's one person who makes that decision. Whereas with the elected members, it's the entire sworn police department that has to make that decision. So that's why it's verifying, okay, yes, this is our decision to recall this individual.
Thank you. But the petition process could apply as well in theory, not in this writing, but it could apply to the appointed members as well.
I guess in theory, I'm not sure that I've ever seen that for any other boards having a recall petition. And it's not something that would need to be approved by the board. It would just be solidifying that this person's being recalled. So that would be a matter of how the common council or how the mayor chooses to recall their appointments. So, I mean, theoretically, yes, the common council and mayor could choose to make it a written petition. Same thing for the members of the department.
Okay, thank you.
Other committee questions? I do have one. I was just wondering if you could go over the, in your presentation, because I don't have it in front of me again, but if you could just review once again the extension, the 1-year FTO.
Yeah, so that's for a probationary period. So under Indiana law, for the probationary
Would you mind
period,
putting it, would you mind just moving to that slide on the PowerPoint?
And Ms. O'Connell, maybe explain FTO.
Yes.
Sure. So
There
FTO
it
is the Field Training Officer Program. So that's it's about, I think, 12 to 14 weeks after the officer has come to work at the police department. So they've passed the academy, they're coming to work on the streets of South Bend, but they're continuing their training. So they're continuing to have training from an FTO officer, a field training officer, who is another member of the department. That member would ride along with them in vehicles, they would evaluate them, assess them. Any kind of corrections would not be considered disciplinary at that point, or at least I would say most of them would not be considered disciplinary. It would be considered training. So, okay, you didn't quite do something right. Well, we're just going to note that on your evaluation and make sure next time you have your FTO ride with you, the next time you're on duty, that you improve upon and continue to be trained and improve upon your abilities. So that FTO period, again, lasts for a couple weeks. And currently, the Board of Public Safety has the 1-year probationary period from being sworn in. So that includes that FTO period. And we would like to start it from when you complete your FTO training. So after you've completed all of your training, initial training with the department, then your probationary period would start 1 year after that. Meaning that 1 year after you've completed your training, the department has the ability to dismiss you pretty much at will. So it doesn't have to go through a hearing process. It doesn't have to go through the merit board. It wouldn't, same thing with the 1-year probationary period with the Board of Public Safety. It would be something that the department sends to the merit board that they are dismissing this individual, but it's not necessarily something that's approved by the merit board. So that that gives the ability to actually hold the officers accountable after they have been trained versus eating into that training time. So that 1 year with the Board of Public Safety really is not, you don't really get a year to assess them. You have to take away that FTO training time, and then you have a shortened amount of time to really be able to feel if that officer is a good fit for the South Bend Police Department.
Thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense. I would like to extend the opportunity, all committee members have asked questions. I'd like to extend the opportunity to other council members. Present first. Yes, Ms. Bolden Simpson.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. My question is about our flexibility on the number of people on the merit board. If that is possible, when would that occur? I'm
So
fuzzy.
You mean the members of the board?
The number of members. Because right now you were saying 5, and I know we're throwing around some different numbers. And I heard Attorney Palmer talking about amending.
So the
Is that
Common
what-
Council,
Go ahead.
thank you. So the Common Council could choose to amend portions of this ordinance basically at any time. So it's not something that you would have to wait a year. If you really felt like you needed to amend it, you could amend it sooner than later. Or you could give it a year and decide after a year that really we need more members or less members and have it go before the Common Council at that point.
If I could clarify, the Common Council could amend this substitute ordinance tonight if they decided to do that,
Or anytime.
or anytime. It would take a majority vote and a motion to amend.
Which includes tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other council members with questions? Okay.
I'm just
Have
going to
one.
one question. I only ask one.
Okay.
Okay. I am struggling with the numbers, the limitations, and that we should not be seeing ourselves limited based on what we think is the most ideal numbers with individuals working. And since the council is going to have to pass, the merit board, I don't have any difficulties with it, but I do have some concerns about 3-3, I think it was 3-2-2-1. And I would.
It'd be 2-2-1.
Did you have,
2-1, yeah, I'm sorry, Spy.
as a comment, but did you have a question?
No, my question is, I just saying that, we don't have to be locked into that. And, we need to see how it's best is going to work. But I think that when we talk about shared governance and we look at it, and of course, the FOP, they will have 1/3 and rightly so. I don't have any problems with that part of it. I really don't. But I do have concerns.
I do have questions from other council members. We've already exhausted our, I will circle back to committee in one more round, but I see Councilman Lee. Councilman Lee, your questions, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm out of range for video, so just wanted to reiterate that on Wednesday we did say that what Bob was presenting was option 4, which was the better option for us to be able to have more flexibility and more input than if we voted on nothing and the state model was enacted. Is that correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Lee. Are there other council members with questions online? Clerk Toronto?
I do not see any additional council members online with questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I would like to open up for public input. We are running short on time. We had a late start. I would like to request at least 15 minutes for public input, if that would be all right, Councilman Davis, to move into your committee. Okay, we will do that. So I'd like to ask first for those speaking in favor, here in the chambers, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then we will go to those online speaking in favor first.
How you doing? Josh Morgan, president of FOP 36, 71 West Sample. Yeah, as the FOP, it's been mentioned, yeah, we are in favor of a merit board. I would just like to, I think there's been confusion with some of the wording when they said options for, there are no options. It's more or less scenarios. Basically, it's, I know there were 4 scenarios that were explained, but it's come down to what we've talked about, this ordinance or the state model merit board. That's it. Those are the only 2 options that are left. There is no 4 options. I think that's a bit confusing. Had we had more time, or we had done this several months ago, there would have been 4 options. But that would have also been required a vote from the FOP, which we were going to vote for a merit board. So it really went down to the 2, option 4 and the state mandate, but we are absolutely in favor of a merit board. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Others in the chambers?
Hi, Aaron Nepper, FOP 36 Treasurer, 701 West Sample Street. I want to echo President Morgan's comments. This has been a long project that we wish we had more time on. The FOP is absolutely in favor of a merit board system. The FOP would not vote against one, and we appreciate the cooperation from the council members who helped us work on this, as well as the city and police administration. To reiterate what Josh said, there is no other option. It is this version or the state version, and the state version will hinder the operations of the South Bend Police Department for a long time, and it is unchangeable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eppert. Anyone else in council chambers speaking for Bill 65-24? Clerk Torado, is there anyone online speaking in favor?
Yes, I see Chief Radowski. Please unmute yourself and state your name and address.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Scott Ruskowski, South Bend Police Chief, 701 West Sample Street, South Bend. Yeah, I'm also in favor of this. I just wanted a couple points of clarification. Yes, I too am in favor of a merit system. We've had a merit system for almost 10 years now. There's been nothing.
Chief, could you
Nobody's
please
ever
speak
called for
into your microphone just a little louder, please?
I'm sorry, I'm driving back from Frankfurt, so I'm doing the best I can on the highway. So hopefully you can hear me. Is it better now?
Yes. We will listen
So I am
carefully.
obviously, okay, yes, I am speaking in favor, undoubtedly. We have had a merit system for at least the last 10 years when it comes to the promotional process and testing and all those kinds of things. We have worked with the FOP through labor management, not just with contracts, not just with day-to-day operations, but also with the promotional system. I know Kylie had discussed about the 5-person option. We wanted to keep it as close as possible to the 5-person Board of Public Safety, not to upset any apple cart. And I will just tell you the bottom line, it's either this or the state, who's never asked me or, to my knowledge, any FOP member their input or anything. This was literally put into place. My gut on this, and I've been doing this for 37 years, is to get rid of or at least attempt to get rid of the good old boy system in the smaller police departments with 20 or under police departments. They have nothing in place, and it's a favoritism perspective down there. I just left the board of directors meeting with the Indiana Chiefs of Police, and that was the entire sentiments of the entire board as well. So I just wanted the council to be aware of it, and I will be at the 7 o'clock meeting, providing there's no mayhem on the highway on my way back from Frankfurt, but I will be there for any further questions or answers if I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Clerk Torado, others?
I do not see anyone online that wishes to speak in favor.
I'm sorry, Councilman Lee, your hand is up. Are you wishing to speak in favor of this bill?
No, I'm sorry.
I think his hand is up.
Okay.
conversation.
Thank you. If there's no one else
I do
here
have,
online to speak in favor, I will request those who wish to speak in opposition.
yes, I do have Jordan Geiger raising his hand. Please unmute, state your name and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm speaking in opposition.
I know that. That's why I
Oh,
asked you
okay.
to unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah. Jordan Geiger, 302 South Falcon Street. I just want to make a couple comments and then ask a question of Bob related to how this ordinance can be amended by way of a motion on the floor at this present moment. So I just want to say matter of factly that I think it's very telling that the individuals who chose or the individuals who are speaking in favor of this bill are all coming from the police department. So you have Chief Ruskowski, who has presided over a police department that has killed more Black men than any other police department or on record, or at least in my lifetime. Then you also have Aaron.
Yeah,
Nepper,
you didn't
who's
listen to the rules, obviously.
I'm sorry, it's my time.
I'm
to
sorry,
speak.
Chief.
Thank you.
please
Then you also have Aaron
continue.
Nepper, who's the treasurer of the FOP, who beat a 17-year-old Black boy in 2012, and who also has a number of infractions and cases of misconduct and complaints that have been made against him. So I think it's really telling that we have these individuals who are speaking in favor of a merit system that absolutely gives an advantage to the FOP and to the police department. My question for Bob is this: is it possible to make a motion to amend the ordinance in such a way where we can set a 15-member board, which would still maintain that the police have 1/3 of the appointments on the board, but would also give each council member at least one appointment to the board?
That is a possibility, yes.
Okay, and it is possible for solely the active members of the police to elect or appoint 1/3 of the board, and for each member of the common council to appoint the remaining members of the board, which as a result would not leave or not allow for the mayor to make any appointments. Is that possible?
I believe that's also possible.
Okay, so I from the perspective of our organization, Black Lives Matter, we would like to see at least a 15-member board where the police, by way of state law, state statute, have the power to appoint 1/3 of the board, and the remaining members are appointed by each member of the common council. We feel that that would be representative because, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Geiger, for your comments. Clerk Torado, are there others wishing to speak against the bill?
I have a Carl Stewart. Are you speaking for or are you speaking against, Carol?
It's more a matter of clarification.
Please
So,
state your name and your address.
Carol Stewart, 1035 Allen Street. And what I remember from the last public meeting that I attended, I thought the attorney laid out that option 4 would not necessarily require the approval of the police department, that it could be decided strictly by the council. Is that correct?
Attorney Palmer, could you clarify that?
That's correct. Option 4 does, if this ordinance is passed by the common council, it does not have to be approved by the active members of the police department.
This or any other ordinance? Correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
If
you,
I
Ms.
may have
Stewart.
a brief comment, is that allowed, a comment?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You may answer.
Just a point of clarification, the 4 options that were presented last Wednesday were the options that are provided under the state statute. So there's lots of nuances to each of those options, and there's lots of discussions and there's lots of research that goes into which options are the best. And that's where we, the department, the FOP, the mayor's office, the other individuals have been involved in deciding what this would look like and how this would play out and what would be the best option for what we've already worked on and what the department and the community have worked hard to create and produce for the selection, hiring, promotion, firing process. And that's where the option we are presenting is what we proposed for the option, what you are calling option 4. It provides that flexibility for the Common Council. It provides flexibility for the department. And we truly feel as the South Bend Police Department that this is the best fit and that this is what is going to work. It's going to create what has already been working and what is already created from community input. And it's not changing any of those things.
Thank you, Attorney Connell. Clerk Toretto, are there others in the public wishing to speak against?
I believe Chief Rosowski had a comment.
Yes, Scott
Um,
Ruskowski back again.
Is he a presenter? Can I speak?
Chief, I think we're going to go ahead and move on. We have other, we need to get to motion and we need to circle back to the committee. So if you wouldn't mind in coming at 7 o'clock and saying more. Thank you. With that, I'd like to just, I am closing the public portion of the meeting and bringing the meeting back to the committee at this time. Committee members, what further questions or comments do you have? Councilman Davis?
Okay, a couple of things. When it comes down to the no requirement for member of different political parties, if we choose this one tonight, the mayor or whoever, we could go all Democrat, all Republican. Is not limited. Is that correct with option 4?
That's correct.
And if we don't, then the other one will require the mayor to do one Democrat, one Republican, or one from different political parties. Could be libertarian.
That's correct.
So this gives us the freedom of not having to be limited to that.
Yes.
And then the issue again comes with the number where we could, if we choose 9 or whatever our number is that matches us, then they would get 1/3. So if we have a 9 number, then they get 3.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, no. If you had 9 members,
They
would-
get 1/3.
Right, but you have to add the 3 and the 9 together.
What is that? No. I mean, if there are 9 complete members, that means there's 3
Oh,
police
okay.
officers.
Okay, now, okay, I understand now. Yes, if there are 9 members, 3 of them would have to come from the
Yes, because you
elected-
said here, man, if there are 9, 3 of them, at least 1/3 of its members elected by the actives. That's what you wrote.
Correct.
So if we have 9, then 3, so then we will have the 16. If for any reason we chose the 15 number that they're talking about, it'd be 15 and 1/3 of that would be 5.
Correct.
So if it's 15, 5, if it's 9, it's 3.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other committee members with questions or comments? Councilman Warner.
Make a motion to accept substitute bill 6524. And as it was stated before, the changes are just minor phrasing of words and removes the thereas words there.
Councilwoman Warner has a motion on the floor to accept substitute bill 65-24. Can I have a second? We are accepting the substitute. I am seconding that.
Councilmember Vice Chair Dr. Davis,
Nay.
Councilmember White,
Do we need some clarification on the motion? We need to, we need to accept the
handed out.
substitute. Yeah,
Oh.
because we didn't do that.
Haven't done a motion.
Yes.
We didn't
Oh,
finish that motion.
Fine, the substitute, yes, second.
The substitute.
I second that.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the other part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't mind.
we
a
have
second.
not made a motion yet.
Substitute.
Yeah, second.
I have seconded. We started roll call.
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Committee Chair Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Citizen Member Savino Rivera,
Aye.
Citizen Member Frank Spezza.
Aye.
All ayes to accept the substitute.
Thank you. Committee questions?
Yes.
Hold on a second. I'm still asking questions. Committee questions or comments? This final question or comment? Yes, Mr. Spezza.
Just comment, I also would like to, eventually amend the number of members of the committee. But just that comment that a lot of people already seem to agree with. Yes, I, just as a citizen committee member, I would be in favor of amending the bill, to increase the number of members of the committee.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Other committee members with questions or comments? Okay. At that point, there are no more questions or comments from committee members. I will open the floor for any motions
Yes,
from committee
I'd like to
members.
make a motion.
Excuse me, if you're asking to be recognized, I am recognizing you, Councilman Davis.
I'd like to make a motion that we make an amendment to this, to add, either 9 or 15, whichever one I'm open to.
Can you please clarify your motion with one or the other?
Well, anybody would like to, let's go with 15 and try that, and then we'll come back.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe you work with Attorney Palmer to type a written motion up?
Why?
In between before 7?
Would that be, because this would be needing to submit a substitute?
Correct. It would have to be.
The amendment needs to be written.
The amendment
We
needs to
will-
be written for his part of it, and, did you want?
So we have a motion on the floor to amend the ordinance to include 15 total members of the board. Councilman Warner had a question, I did too. I mean, essentially, you'd need to, you would have, in making this motion, you need to submit a substitute for the committee at 7.
No, that's, you can make a motion to amend without submitting the amended ordinance until such time as it's passed.
And we have,
I'm sorry, when is that? I think we need a point of order. Could we just have some comment and discussion on this, Mr. Warner?
Yeah, I
And
believe
then
in
Ms.
the
White.
ordinances. I'll pull it up right now, but the amendment must be written at the request of any council member.
But there is no amendment until it's voted on to be passed.
So once it's, if it is passed, then you need to write an amendment
Correct.
and then submit a substitute.
Correct.
Councilman White, did you have
I'm just trying to
a,
get some clarity.
discussion.
And as to me, I don't think anyone is not saying that they do not support the merit board, nor the work of the FOP or the police department in its entirety. The question centers around the members. And I think that we should be able to reach some level of consensus so that we can move forward. I don't know what that number is going to be, but what I'm hearing, that's where some of the concern is at.
I have a point of order.
Mhm.
Section 2.9E states, every motion made by any member and entertained by the presiding officer shall be reduced to writing on the demand of any member. I think just having something written here so we know exactly how it is written, what the number is, and how it breaks down would be beneficial.
I agree with you. If that's a demand for the motion to be put in writing, you're correct.
I demand the motion be put in writing, yes.
Do I have to, do I need to write it down on, written, right here? Or, paper,
You can.
or should we have it typed by our clerk, or what would be, what's your recommendation so everybody can see it? Because if I write it here, then we have to pass it down as my handwriting.
If you write it on that, you will have to make copies for each council member, each committee member.
And writing, just, That's right. Let's start with this one. To.
This is to clarify the motion.
Okay. Let me read it and then we have them make a copy of it. Okay, making sure. A motion to amend the bill to add up to 15 members with 1/3 being active police officers. Does that meet within the keeping of what we're talking about?
That is the motion.
I believe that the proper motion would be to identify specifically the number of members.
Identify.
True. Identify. Can I have a moment with the council, please, without the mic?
You want to have specifics in terms of motion. You want to have specifics in terms of motion. You want to know what you're voting. Nine.
Who's that?
I'm gonna go hide.
Who's that?
I'm gonna go hide.
Who's that? You and Bob?
Yeah.
Oh.
Go hide if it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass, and then we go back to the other one. Now we gotta make.
Are you reading your motion?
Hold on a second, but they want me to get copies of it though.
If you can read your motion and
Oh,
then we can
sorry.
make copies of it.
Motion to amend the bill to specify 15 members with 1/3 being active police officers.
Okay, thank you.
It would,
You-
would
you
be or
make
would
copy
be
of that?
elected by?
Pardon me?
They would be active police officers or elected by active police officers?
Elected by. Put down elected by. Let me-
Well, that's not what.
And then how about the rest of
you
them?
are. I mean, we keep
See,
clarifying.
this is what
both of
we
you with
want
this,
is
so
specific.
if you want
What
to
do you,
be
what
clear,
about the rest of them?
if you want to be clear about what you're saying, so we're not going to keep, we're not.
That's
going
why I
to continue to
suggested you
work this
take
with
some
you.
time in the break.
It's not me. He's asking me to clarify it. Don't get rude with me, please.
I'm saying.
I'm trying to go
We
with
can
what he's
vote on
doing.
this as is.
I'm trying to clarify what he's saying.
Sure.
I think he brought a good idea. Could you say it again, please?
Sure, I'll second your amendment.
But say,
Vote on it.
say it the way you said it. Instead of elected. Go ahead.
No, this is why I suggested you do this
I know.
before 7, so you could have
I
specifics
understand that too. I'm
on
okay with that too, but
Elected.
how the makeups.
go ahead.
He
No.
seconded the motion that you just read,
Mhm.
so. As
Fine.
is.
How about you use the word elected?
So
Yeah,
the motion that you have here, as chair, I'm rereading the motion, a motion to amend the bill to add up to 15 members
No.
with 1/3 being active
It's not up to.
police officers.
Bob and I agree. We said not up to.
You know, it would have to be elected by
I said-
active police.
He had that
officers.
scratched out. It's the bill to 15 members. We had that part scratched out because he told me you have to put the word, I have to ask for a specific number.
Would you like to are
A
you
motion to amend
restating
the
your
bill
motion?
to specify 15 members with 1/3 being active police officers. That's what we
Hey,
said.
we'll be happy to have
So
5
that is-
active police officers, but you don't want 5 active police officers on the bill. or
This
on the
is,
board.
this is the motion that
Yeah, we
this
said
committee
1/3.
was
Elected by.
voting on.
Elected by the active police officers.
You're saying that you want 5 active members on the merit board. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
You don't want that active. In other words, I can be on the merit board. You don't want that.
This motion
Oh, you just.
has with 1/3 being active police officers. So if you'd like to amend, I mean, this is the motion that we are voting on because that is what you wrote.
He said, I don't want that because. You saying what?
I'm sorry, point of,
Point of order.
Yeah.
Mr. Palmer,
Yeah.
this is the motion that a committee member has put forward. So I need to either ask for a second, or we move on. So this is the motion that was read. If it needs to,
I can re-clarify my motion. I'm the one making the motion. And you said what language?
Mr. Palmer, how is a
I can
motion
re-clarify my-
amended?
I can
A motion
re-clarify
is on
my
the,
thing.
table
According to Robert's Rules of Order, I can re-clarify my motion.
right now.
No, the motion's already been made.
Mhm.
Well, then it's 15.
So
Well,
there
I
is,
rescind that motion then, I can rescind my own motion. And then for a motion to amend the bill to specify 15 members with 1/3 being,
You want it to
Elected.
be not active members.
police officers.
No, you don't want
No.
police
What
officers
police
on the merit board.
officers?
Okay, just 1/3 being,
Elected by the active
okay,
police
1/3
officer.
being elected by the police officers. That's what I said. Elected by the active police officers. That's what I was trying to get down
So
there.
I'm just trying to help you out.
I appreciate it. So,
You know,
a
committee
motion to
members should
amend
be
the
able to-
bill to specify 15 members with 1/3 being elected by the police officers. Thank y'all.
Councilman Warner, do you want that in writing?
No, let's just go ahead and second it.
We are,
There's no specifications on it and we can,
is everyone clear on the motion that we are voting on?
yes.
A motion to amend the bill to specify 15 members with 1/3 being, I'm going to write this for you, elected. You need help with
I'll-
this?
I'll second it. Chair, discussion on the motion, please.
Okay.
So-
This bill has been moved and seconded, and I am opening it up for committee discussion.
No, this is just an amendment. The amendment has been moved and seconded, it's the bill itself.
No, the amendment has been moved
Yes.
and seconded,
So
so there is discussion
On
on
the
the
amendment,
amendment.
again, this is why I asked and suggested you go to 7 PM and put some more details. Because right now, all we have is there's 15, but who does the other 9? How are those done? I would suggest you sit down with Attorney Palmer and write up some more details and specifics on what the makeup of that 15 would be for 7 PM. And I seconded the motion just so we could move on because we are running out of time. But I would suggest voting against the motion and then just sending the bill forward with no recommendation so we can have it, wrap this up at 7 and have all 9 council members here taking part in that discussion on the composition of the board. So that would be my.
So
I agree with all that amendment, what he said into the motion.
we do need to move forward with the motion, but I am open for more discussion from committee members. So if there is more, this is an opportunity for discussion or comment on the motion that has been proposed. Any other committee members?
Just a clarifying question. The motion is now considered a part of the,
It is a motion, it is a motion to amend, and the options are to vote against it or to vote for it, to amend it as stated.
okay. Thank you.
Other committee comments? You know?
I guess I have a question.
Oh,
So what's
I'm
being
sorry.
said right now is for tonight, is for our 7 o'clock meeting. Is that what we're doing?
We, in this committee, there's been a motion to amend the the bill. And this is the motion that this committee is voting on right now.
Okay.
We need to get there.
To move it, yeah, the goal, I would like to, as chair, I would like to move this bill into the committee of the whole for further discussion, clarification, and more time for public comment from everyone for and against this bill. It is my recommendation to the committee to vote this down so that we can move forward with the bill. So that is my comment as chair. My second comment is, yeah, that is a very large board. And that's all I will say at this point. If there are no other comments from committee members or discussion, Clerk Torado, could you take the bill and let's clarify what our options are, right? So
For clarification, can you please state the motion?
and this isn't even my motion. This is Oliver Davis's motion, and I'm reading it as.
I think he withdrew the motion. Is that correct, Councilman?
I had brought it back, but then go for your
Wanna
motion.
rescind
I'll
motion?
rescind mine and go with yours.
Okay, so I make a
Motion has
motion
been
to send the
rescinded.
bill forward to 7 PM with no recommendation.
Second.
Please, Clerk Torado, please take a roll.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair Dr. Davis, Committee Chair Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Citizen Member Sereno Rivera,
Aye.
Citizen Member Frank Spessa.
Aye.
All ayes.
Bill number 65-24 is going to the committee of the whole with no recommendation. To close, I just want to remind people, council begins at 7 PM. There's a separate virtual link to join. This Health and Public Safety Committee meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
We have a zoning and annexation committee in 5 minutes.
Do you want me, right, do you want me to write down? Yes.
This is the last time, like, meeting.
My personal thing. And then I have some good things. Where are we? You have two bills, zoning annexation. Our clerk, can you take the roll, please?
Committee Chair, Dr. Davis.
I'm here.
Councilmember Vice Chair Gooden Rogers. Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Present.
Councilmember White. Citizen Member Jordan Geiger.
Present.
And
Citizen Member Stacy Odo.
she sent me a note. She has an emergency.
We have a quorum and we have 5 members present.
Thank you. Thank everybody for being here. We would like to now hear bill number 4224. We have our presenter. Go ahead, Mr. Morris.
Skip Morrell, Principal Development Planner with offices on the 14th floor of this building. I did confirm with this petitioner that he would be present and establish the time. I just want to make sure that he is online before starting this presentation. This is for 829 South 27th Street.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, if our petitioner isn't present, will we?
That is not present.
It doesn't look like he's online. We spoke earlier today and confirmed that this was the time and the link. So you don't see anyone online.
Is there a petitioner present online for Bill 4224?
No, okay. We move to,
Yes. But we want to just have them come at night tonight if in case.
if we can move forward with no motion and here
Yeah.
tonight or table it.
Let's just go with, and in case he comes tonight. My piece.
Okay.
So we just need a motion for no recommendation?
Correct.
Yeah, go ahead. You have a motion for no recommendation?
Table it till 7 o'clock.
Yes. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Can you take the roll, please?
Councilmember Vice Chair Gooden Rogers. Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember White. Committee Chair Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Citizen Member Jordan Geiger.
What's the motion? I don't understand what's happening.
The motion is there is no recommendation because there's no petitioner, so the motion is no recommendation to move it to the 7 p.m. meeting.
And the petitioner will be there?
Hopefully, if it's not, we'll just move forward.
Yes, if not, we will table.
Well, why don't we just table it? I don't understand.
Normally, we just give them an option.
Why are we don't cut the citizen members out? We already got bills on the table doing that. Let's can we
There'll still be a
maintain
public
some
hearing,
integrity?
should
A
that-
public
Just a-
hearing, but I want to be able to weigh in.
Mr. Geiger, can you please state A or nay?
Nay.
I have 4 A's and 1 nay.
All right, could we please hear bill number 5324?
And again, this petitioner, we spoke with him earlier today and he confirmed that he would be here. Just wanted to see, it's not in person, if the petitioner for 809 South Walnut Street is online.
If there's a petitioner online for 5324, please unmute yourself and state your name. There's not. So it seems as though we don't have a petitioner.
Okay, so we'll do the same thing.
That's your call.
We'll do the same thing.
I'll make a motion for no recommendation for Bill 5324 to be sent to, that be the full council?
Yes, no, committee of whole.
To the committee of the whole.
Yeah.
We
Committee
have a
Chair.
second?
Second.
Okay, just for the clarification, this is normally the practice of what we have done in the past, and so if they don't show up, we just move on. Okay, go ahead with the vote.
Committee Chair Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember White. Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Vice Chair Gunn Rogers, Citizen Member Jordan Geiger.
Nay.
I have 4 ayes and 1 nay.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, Skip. Nice seeing you.